Hey, good evening from Pompey. We have Seestar looking at Polaris, and we're gonna head over to Comet 3I. I just connected Stellarium to it. I want to see quickly if Stellarium has updated. Hello, John. 3I Atlas. Yep, same place. Let's go there. We're going to spend some time initially out of courtesy looking at 3I. And then after that, we have Comet 2025 K1, 2023 C2, 2024 J3, and 2022 E2. Don't know how many of them we'll be able to get, if any. Hello, Jeannie. Looks like we're seeing stars already on the Skycam, and that is good. All right, object is centered. Let's do it. We're gonna have to turn on the dew heater on Seestar momentarily. Okay, on to DWARF. Before we go astro, per se this meteor shower has started, but I doubt we're going to be seeing anything tonight. All right, Jeannie, this is for you. There we go. No, wrong one. 20%. Okay. Anti-do. Do. 9:36. We'll see. We'll give it an hour, and then we move on to useful stuff. Okay. In the meantime, dwarf, astro. We are wide angle. The 4 shots of the Milky Way that I plan to take are going to be, the first one will be near centered on Messier 24. Let's see if we can do that. Atlas. find M24. Let's go there. Okay. Please notice that Seestar did not complain about horizontal calibration. Okay, wide, and we're looking at 1562K. Okay, let's do it. It is still light outside. Let's see what it'll do. Let's see if 5 is still too bright. I think this is a satellite on Seestar and not a comet. Haha. You're welcome. Yeah, this shirt was the Gettysburg Marathon that I ran a few years ago. Ironically, I don't have any clothes that did not come from marathons. Well, for the most part. I can wear the long sleeve marathon shirts as dress shirts and the short sleeve shirts as casual wear. Yeah, Dwarf 3 is showing us the Milky Way, although it is still a bit bright. I plan to spend about 15 minutes. Oh, we have more than that. We'll spend about 20 minutes per Milky Way region before we look at the Veil Nebula, the North American Nebula. And then the nightcap is going to be M31 for us. John, yes and no. Initially, they thought it was a solar system comet, and then they determined it was not. Initially named 2025 N1 Atlas. Renamed 3I for Interstellar. According to AI, it is only the third known interstellar comet to enter the solar system. I asked Gemini AI today to tell me about one inch plywood. And it said 1 inch plywood is plywood that has a 1 inch thickness. And I thanked it profusely, saying I would have never known that without artificial intelligence. Right now, the comet is at altitude 27 degrees and azimuth 164. We will lose it when it gets close to 180 because there's a house in the way. Right now, Dwarf 2 is the only telescope that I have that can look due south from here. We may have to go to the cemetery and set up there to observe the comet when it gets a little bit more visible than this. As always, I try to identify star patterns to know that we are roughly in the right place. Not immediately, John. We're expecting next weekend an influx of children and grandchildren coming to spend a week with us. We're talking about all 8 grandchildren and 6 children. Well, 3 children and their spouses. So we're going to be very busy getting the house ready. And today we discovered a nasty surprise, namely a sinkhole forming in our driveway right in front of the garage door. Initially I thought it was a minor pothole that I could patch, until I discovered that it was 14-inch deep. At least my yardstick went down, total emptiness under it. So Mimo's gonna have to wait probably till August, till the kids are come and gone. Yeah, the Milky Way is looking very, very nice. Not necessarily, John. We will go live if the weather permits it. Okay, I finally have visual confirmation that we are in the right place, and let me show you. This is Stellarium, showing where Seestar is and the target in the middle. Seestar is going to dance around, and this is the Seestar field of view. And as we start looking, this pattern of stars here, 1, 2, 3, 4, is right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this nice pattern here that looks like a hockey stick is right there. Bright star, bright star. So we are shifted by a tiny bit. because these three are just outside, and this one, they are just outside the field of view. So we are shifted by a tiny bit. So if this is accurate, we should be looking here. One, two, three, four, that small crescent is right here. So the comet will be roughly there if everything is correct. Fortunately for us, this is a darkish area, and if there is anything moving, we should be able to see it. Uh-oh, where did it go? Okay, Stellarium closed on me. I can open it again. Hello, Otto. So let me try to put an indicator of what we are looking at. Where is my arrow? Yeah, we're looking at a very busy part of the sky. Dwarf 3 is aimed at about the same area also, and you can see the Milky Way on the Dwarf 3. This is coming out nice. Okay, where's my arrow? There is arrow. So this is roughly where we are looking. Jeannie, is the audio reasonably good? I'm sure it'll get very good when the dogs start barking. The folks in Oswego are having a public viewing night, and for once they do not have rain and clouds for public viewing. I'm happy for them. They're using the big scope with eyepieces to look at targets. Thank you, Jeannie. I'm going to verify quickly that unistellar agrees with our coordinates. Comets ephemeris. Select target. N1. Select an address. Pompey. And select a time. Now is as good as any. Hey Zena, good to see you. Is your air conditioning working again, or has it cooled down in Phoenix? According to the Citizen Science Project Unistellar, we should be looking at a right ascension of 1726. We have 1726 spot on, and minus 18 degrees, 14 minutes and 40 seconds, and we have minus 18, 14, and 40. So stellarium and unistellar concur to the nearest fraction of a second, so we are good. We can fix a little bit low. Trying not to wake up the dogs, that's all. Magnitude 17. That is where they disagree. There are two estimates of magnitude. According to data provided by Cobbs, it is 17. We may or may not see 17. We're unlikely to see 17 with the Seestar. But someday it's going to be better than 17, and we'll see it. All right, I'll be right back so we can speak louder. I'm going to put a door between me and the dogs. Be right back. John, last time when we imaged the RR Lyra, we confirmed that we were looking at stars that were 16.5 magnitude. So there is hope. Having said that, the comet is gonna get brighter, and it is the game that we are playing to see when we will first see it. Thank you, Zena. Yeah, when I wake up and look out of the window, I see one of two things: clouds or Venus. And if it's Venus, take a quick video with or without birds, with or without frogs. Hello, Bill. Here's the plan for the night. We are using the DWARF to travel around the Milky Way initially. I plan on 4 stops in the Milky Way, starting with the southeast, which is roughly where the comet is, and then move to the east and then the northeast. So we will be centered around Messier 24, 11, 27, and then C20. When we're done with those 4 stops of the Milky Way, at about 20 minutes each, yeah, time to move on to the next one soon. Then I plan to do some wide nebula, the 2 Veils, the North America, and then cap it with Andromeda. In the meantime, Seestar is going to look at comets almost exclusively. I have a list of comets to see if we see any of them. And they are 1 per year. C2022 E2, 2023 C2, 2024 J3, and 2024 K1. But right now we are looking at 2025 N1, which is our interstellar visitor. All right, we're going to stop dwarf and move on to the next one. We had to reduce the exposure on dwarf because it was too bright when we started. It complained at 15 seconds, so we went 5 seconds. Next stop on the Milky Way is going to be Messier 11. So we're moving a bit higher in the Milky Way, M11. Hi, Toast. Oh no. Our Skycam is getting moist. The past several nights, when we wake up in the morning, the deck is wet, as in it has about an eighth of an inch of water on it, and that is without rain. Just massively high humidity. And that's what's befalling our Skycam right now. Let's see if it'll agree to stack at 15 seconds, or whether we have to go back to 5. John, I'm using Stellarium to send us directly. Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the joy that is Dwarf 3. This is the Milky Way with a single stacked frame. Well, if it's single, it's not stacked. I have to say I am blown away by this picture. But for some reason it's not stacking anymore. I have not upgraded. I learned my lesson not to upgrade before going live, if I can help it. You probably met Mr. Murphy, as in Murphy's Law. By the way, did you know that Murphy was an Air Force research lab engineer focused on aircraft accidents? And in developing methods to investigate aircraft crashes and accidents, he always told his engineers to think along the lines of, if anything can go wrong, it will. And that became known as Murphy's Law as a result. John, it is not. This is what Dwarf is getting with only half a dozen frames stacked. This is with absolutely no stretching, no contrast, no nothing. I still like it just a touch here. That's the equivalent of your 20 Genie. You probably heard about the early part of the investigation about the Air India Boeing 787. It's very unfortunate and very incomprehensible. Now here's the mystery of the Dwarf 3 of Happy. It has stacked only 8 frames out of 19. Picture looks nice, but I don't know why it's dropping the majority of the frames. This is roughly where we're looking for the comet. This puts the arrow in the right place. Don't see anything yet. Well, I'm going to swing Stellarium into the picture. This is, I don't know if you can see the field of view of Seestar on Stellarium, the red box. And we tried verifying that we had the right star pattern. There is the hockey stick at the top. There is the hockey stick here. And then as we go further down, there is a pattern of 4 stars. And the comet is supposed to be in the middle here, level with the third of the 4 stars. And here are the 4 stars that we're looking at. So level with the middle of the second. There is a dark area, and that's giving me hope that if we are indeed in the right place, we will see it within that dark area, that it is not a cluster like the rest of the Milky Way here. And Seestar is moving around. That distance between where Seestar is pointing at and where it was told to point at is the difference here. That's why we're not perfectly centered. For example, that star at the edge appears here. It's farther in. So the whole image is shifted by a bit. They're still saying 17, magnitude 17, Bill. Just outside Seestar's range, but we're going to image it whenever we have a chance until we see it. The other comets that we're looking at tonight are all in the 14 to 15 range, so hopefully we'll see some of them. Back to taking Stellarium out of the picture. We can do that, that's easy. Here you go. We can go in the direction if you want. Don't see it yet. We are at 174 degrees, so we will be quitting soon. 174 degrees azimuth. Turned off the red light behind me just in case it is causing that reflection of the roof at the top right corner of DWARF. Yeah, the comet is moving towards us. I think October is when they expect it to swing between Mars and Earth. So that is the end of this experiment. Next. Let's see which one is highest. C22. E2. It is at 17 degrees. C2023, C2. I'm looking at that elevation. Make sure we're not going for one that is below the horizon. .25 degrees. .2023 C2. .27 degrees. They're all low, unfortunately. And 2025 K1. All right, we're starting with the 2025 K1. Let's go there. No, we have not, Zena, but we had an unfortunate situation of what appears to be a sinkhole in our driveway in front of the garage, which we're trying to have somebody try to fix it, and nobody is available or interested. We're going to refocus here. We know that, thank you. Let me reset and refocus. No. Okay, then start stacking. What? This one is an easy one to verify that we are in the right place. You just look at the cluster at the top, very distinguished. There it is. And looks like we're reasonably centered. This comet has magnitude 14.6. Let's make sure the arrow is in the right place. Well, it looked like a foot-wide pothole, very shallow, very, very minor depression. And the driveway repair people who came and looked at it, they said, just get yourself a gallon of asphalt, dump it in, and you'll be fine. I decided to do due diligence and clean the hole before dumping, and that's where it collapsed. And when I put my yardstick down the tiny hole, it went all the way 18 inches down, sorry, 14 inches before it stopped. So now we're going to have to get it done to find somebody to dig up the driveway and see how deep we need to go. In the meantime, we have another hockey stick here. And the comet is supposed to be under the last one of those, somewhere in here. Let's see if we can zoom in further. Yeah, somewhere down there. I see Comet. Do you have your 77-inch screen, Bill? I think we have a comet right above that arrow. Saturn rises after midnight, and we're going to have a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in a few days. Otto, we know what's up. We have a lot of water. Actually, we have a freshwater spring under the house. And when the house was built, they dumped about 8 feet deep of rocks and stones and boulders to build the basement and the foundation on it. They did not do the same under the driveway, obviously. And this is the second time in the past 3 years that we had to dig up the driveway and refill it because water is washing out the stuff under it. All right, I am happy with the Milky Way. I'm going to move to the further east. Looks like the red light behind me was the problem with the Milky Way corner. So I'm going to move a bit further. Okay. So this was Milky Way around Messier 11. We're going to go to Messier 27. Dumbbell. For those who are joining us now, welcome to the Pompey Observatory. It's a clear night. Unfortunately, it's extremely humid and the sky cam is all but useless at this point. So we're going to give DWARF more space. And we're going to move me out of the way. That will do. All right, let's see where the suspect comet is. Right here. This fuzzy little thing. We're going to stop tracking M11. We're going to go to the Dumbbell Nebula and see the Milky Way around it. But I'm going to see if I can put the arrow back. So we are looking at thank you, Zena. Turning on the camera introduces certain discipline that would not be there with the camera off. Like resisting the urge to scratch the nose. Okay, we're seeing a trail here, not so much a tail. And it's not green yet because it's not close enough to the sun to be shedding part of its ice particles. John, I don't know what I said, so if I meant what I did not say or say what I did not mean, then I stand corrected. Yes, sorry. Yup. It's not. Okay, you're correct. It's not happy, it's Seestar. We retracted the message. Thank you. So we're taking those images of the Milky Way and they are coming out really, really nice. And this is without AI enhancement. My next project is to use what I refer to now, not telescope, but Teslascope. and try to image the Milky Way with it. Ladies and gentlemen, we definitely have a comet sighting here. And Bill has confirmed it. It's going to be interesting to see if we can convince Stellarium to give us a read on the star next to it in terms of magnitude. Mr. Pinto, the star next to the comet, according to Stellarium, is a 16.9. The little star next to the comet is confirmed by Stellarium as a 16.9 magnitude. And obviously, this is the star near the tail of the comet. There are obviously stars that are fainter than the 16.9 that we are seeing, but Stellarium is not displaying them. So our attempts to find and look at the 17.1 is not out of the reasonable at this point. Yeah, we are creeping slowly but surely towards the 5K. You bet, Gina. We will have a big party. Well, small party. Big one when we get to 10,000, but yes. Yes, thanks, Bill. I'm going to give this Seestar, I'm going to give it another 10 minutes or so, and then at 11 we will hop over to another comet. Jeannie, what's for dinner? You know the drill by now. You cannot just go make dinner without telling us what is for dinner. Hey guys, don't let her off the hook easy. We need to know what's for dinner. So Seestar Alp is doing its job, allowing us to use stellarium to find targets, and then it slaves Seestar to drive it towards those targets. Thank you. Actually, I had gazpacho for dinner. That is essentially a salad made into a soup. So the one big observation of the night is that Dwarf 3 is stacking about half the frames. Don't know if this is a peculiarity of the wide angle or what. Before we move on to our last stop along the Milky Way, since we are sitting on M27 anyway, I'm going to see if I can switch aperture and stack it. So let's see how we do it. We're going to stop. We're going to end the current session, but we're going to keep tracking. We're going to go from wide angle to narrow angle. We're going to go from wide to tele. No auto parameter. Change the filter. Go with dual band. And go with 1560. And let's see if that works. What is your preferred red wine bill? Are you a Cabernet guy or a Pinot Noir or a Syrah? So what we did with the dwarf, we switched very carefully from wide angle to telephoto without changing the tracking. It's the first time I attempt this. Let's see if it's going to work. Bingo! And this is the Dumbbell Nebula. Okay, if everybody is satisfied that we have indeed captured Comet 2025 K1, we're going to move off it to the next one. That will be 2023 C2. I can show you Bill's picture. There you go. What is going on here? I don't know what we were skipping, but we skipped whatever it was. Let us verify once more that we have the right neighborhood. Oh no. Okay, Stellarium, wake up again. All right, here comes Stellarium. No, it doesn't like traveling across 3 screens. One more time. This is the order of events. We have to resync the telescopes, connect to it. And then open up the field of view. There we go. Yeah, that was easy. There is this round cluster, which is very evident here. Big star next to it. And then we drop down to this neighborhood. We have 3 stars in a row. So it's going to be somewhere around here. John, now that you mention it, I was in communication with Sue this morning, and she said she's going to join us tonight. Sue, if you are on, hi. This, let's see, which one are we looking at now? C2023, C2. It says magnitude 15. Previous one was 14 and change. DWARF is doing very nicely with the dumbbell nebula. This is another wow for tonight. DWARF is looking at the Milky Way. That was my main objective, to do things that no other telescope in my collection can do, and that is very wide angle. But since we were imaging the Milky Way around the dumbbell, I decided to zoom into the dumbbell, image it briefly, and then move on. I have one more picture of the Milky Way to take in the northeast part of the Milky Way. And when that is done, we're going to look at two colorful nebula, the Eastern Veil and the Western Veil. Both are very colorful. And when we're done with these, the nightcap will be Andromeda. That is for dwarf. Seestar is just doing comets. We have two more. You're welcome. Unfortunately, on such a beautiful, clear night, I'm gonna have to cut our live session short before tomorrow, since I am scheduled to get up very early in the morning before the heat and go for a long run back in marathon training. And when my two hobbies collide, we'll try to do both as much as possible. There is a good chance that tomorrow night will be clear as well, so we'll see what tomorrow brings. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, this is the Pompey Observatory. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. We are at 4,900 and change. It is the only channel on YouTube that streams live in 4K resolution from multiple telescopes at the same time. And I still don't see the comet. According to Stellarium, it should be this. But there are two stars here, so it's unlikely to be this. Moon Pleiades. Let me see what you're talking about. The Perseids meteor shower has started, and it's gonna increase in intensity over the next 2 weeks. I shall try to show you momentarily, Gina. Moon. Oh, nice. All right, Stellarium, here we come. This is looking at Sunday morning. This is the Pleiades right here, the Seven Sisters. There is the moon, and this is 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and the moon is about to go straight through as the sun is rising. By 5 a.m. the moon is covering several of the seven sisters. This is the occultation, the moon covering the stars. This is very, very good, straight through the middle. The question becomes, what's the weather going to be like Sunday morning? Astrospheric says maybe. So we'll see. Well, this comet is not cooperating. I don't see it anywhere yet. We're going to give it a few more minutes and then hop onto (2024) J3. So far we're batting 1 out of 3. Dumbbell is good. I want to go do my my last Milky Way image. Which is around the North American Nebula. We're going to go to the North American Nebula and go very wide angle to do Milky Way there. Bill, I don't know if you were here. We moved from Comet 2025 K1 to Comet 2023 C2. That's why it's not the same patch of sky. And this one is a bit darker. It is a magnitude 15 as opposed to the 14.5 that we were looking at. We're going to go back wide angle. Wide angle. Atlas C20. There it is. The sky cam is all but flooded now. Okay, we're going wide angle. $15.60. This is our last stop on the Milky Way for tonight, and it is centered around the North American Nebula. It is the Gettysburg Marathon. This is a very colorful part of the Milky Way. The Gettysburg Marathon used to run through the battlefield, and it was an incredibly moving experience. And then the National Park Service denied us the permit, saying you cannot run through the national park anymore. So now the course of the marathon is around the perimeter of the battlefield, which, around the perimeter of the park. The battlefield was very, very large during that battle. But it is unfortunate that we no longer can run through the monuments and remember, celebrate, observe. John, I'm looking at 2 in September. Both are going to be too close for comfort. I had another medical setback 2 weeks ago that sent me back to 0. I ran 6.5 miles last Saturday. I'm going to go for 8.5 tomorrow, and then 10.5 the following Saturday. I'm increasing by 2 miles per week to try to get me to Sackett's Harbor on September 6 or Trumptown on September 20. If neither of these work out, then I am registered for the Harrisburg Marathon in Pennsylvania. That is one of my favorites. I've run it 5 times. I'll be going back for the 6th time. Nice thing about Harrisburg is they allow an early start for the slowpokes. Bill, whenever I visit Gettysburg, I go running. I used to take a whole group of ROTC cadets down there once a year, and we would run all the way to Big Round Top, and that's where I used to give them the a reminder from Ronald Reagan that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. And then we run back. This year was the first year that even a bunch of cadets, we were denied permission to run through the park. So they went on their own in 2Zs and 3Zs and ran through. AZ-GTi. Zina, are you trying to reason decisions made by the government? You sound like you have been retired for a while. I'm going to give this comet another 3 minutes or so, 20 minutes of stack time. If we don't see it, we're going to move on to the next one. One thing I have not been able to do, Bill, is the self-guided tour that goes around the battlefield. It's 18.5 miles. I've never gotten around to running it. Someday. So tonight DWARF has exceeded my expectations with the images of the Milky Way. Bill, if you're up early Sunday morning, you may want to look for the moon passing through the Pleiades. That's going to be covering most of the Seven Sisters early in the morning. The moon will be at 24%, but the darkness, the dark part will be covering Electra and Merope and Maya and Taygeta. Course design is an art. You never know what goes through the head of a race director when they sit down and design a course. CGD, we looked at 3 comets so far tonight. We were able to observe only one of them. C2025K1 Atlas, we were able to see. We have not seen yet the 3I. Right now we're looking at C2023C2 and we're not seeing it. So I'm going to move over to C2024J3 next. Bill, does the Subaru telescope show the Pleiades? So the next one we're going to go for is 2024 J3. Ooh, it's at 166 degrees azimuth, but it is in a quiet area, so we don't have much time for it. Let's do it. As I mentioned earlier, I am using Stellarium to drive Seestar. This way I don't have to worry about updating the Comet database on Seestar.
Object is centered.
Thank you.
Start enhancing image.
The double stars here are pointing to the comet that's supposed to be right here. Let's see if we can put an arrow on it. Yeah, I'm anxious to see. I was hoping to look at meteor showers on my Skycam, but looks like the only thing we're looking at on the Skycam is water on the camera. You're welcome to watch it anytime you want. Their telescope is bigger than mine. Okay, we're looking at C2024. I don't see either. So we'll end up with only 1 out of 4. We're going to give it 20 minutes and see what happens. Now we're going to go telephoto again. And look for the East Vale. Good night, Gina. See you next time. This is tonight's last challenge for Dwarf 3. It has done extremely well with the Milky Way and with the Dumbbell Nebula. We're looking at the East Vale Nebula now to see what it does with that. Bill, does either of these two dashes look promising? We'll stay on them for another 20 minutes to see if either of them gets longer. I'm going to take the pointer out of the way. I put the cursor beside the two of them. I noticed that, and the orientation, I wish I knew which way that comet is moving. Bill, it appears to be moving from left to right. So it will be the lower one of the two, if anything. Veil Nebula is starting to take shape. It does. We will have to revisit in a few days and see what that gives us. As I mentioned a bit earlier, I need to call it a night before tomorrow so I can get up early in the morning for my long run before it gets too hot. So we definitely had a successful night with the dwarf. It accomplished all its objectives. At Comets, we got one definite and one maybe out of 4. And other than that, I shall wish you all a good night.